If you deny Jesus the Christ as the only way, you will pay. And this is a certainty in your existence. And most folks can't comprehend it, but they will. Hear me well, people. You will not make it to the Father through Catholicism, Judaism, the Pope, the Dalai Lama, Obama, Muhammad, Buddha, Kali, Krishna, Shiva, all these devils and demons, Indian gurus, Oprah Winfrey, Joel Osteen, the local pastor, athletes, actors, rabbis, pastors, Martin Luther King, New Age teachers, UFO'S, aliens, or any other being from any race or religion. You will not make it except through Jesus. If it ain't Jesus, take it back and send it back, because it just don't matter. Let me say it again to you. If it ain't Jesus, it don't matter. Take it on back. It don't mean nothing. Take it back. Being tried and fighting physically and spiritually, and sometimes you have to get mad, you have to get strong. We all do. I want to read something to you because I know many of you go through hard times, and I've gone through them right there with you. But you grow and you overcome them, and it can be done. But sometimes you got to be, for the first thing you have to have, brethren, is faith. You got to have faith. Faith, you got to believe. And you got to want to do what's right. And sometimes you got to get mad. You got to want to fight back. Spiritually and physically. Speak not in the ears of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of thy words. In this video, brethren, I'd like to talk to you about time, trust, fear, control, and strength. Being tried and fighting physical and spiritual battles. And sometimes you have to get mad, you have to get strong. We've been taught to be humble and meek and gentle, to turn the cheek, and this is all true enough. Sometimes you will have to get mad, and you will have to get strong. You will have to get mad at others, evil, and even yourself when you're not doing what you should be doing. What I would like to do in this video is I would like to read to you first a story that I wrote 4 years ago. Yesterday was Christmas Day. I don't celebrate Christmas. And it was marked 3 years that I have been on YouTube. I joined YouTube in Christmas Day of 2016, and it's been 3 years, and I wanted to do something to mark that, and I wanted it to be special. And I prayed, and what will we come up with? So I thought the Father came up with something really wonderful for us, for His children, and I hope you really get something from it, because there's something in this video to be got, something really important. First of all, here is my website, flockofjesus.com. Hopefully at the first of the year I can dedicate more time to it, and if others would like to help me, please do so. Some people have failed, quite frankly, and that's okay. A lot of people talk about doing things, but there's talkers and there's doers. And some folks talk. They just talk. Some folks do. If any of you have any writings, and you don't have to be a writer, if you like to write something, and it's appropriate, and it's right, then let's put it on the website. If you have any music, if you have something that you would like to add, send it to me. And I would like to put it on the website so other people may see it, and the Father and Jesus may be glorified from it if it's something that glorifies them. But let's get into this video and what this video is about, and then we'll go further, because this is important. Stay with me, and there's something to be learned here, something important. Or this video, I wouldn't be doing the video. I'm going to read a story to you. I wrote it 4 years ago. And we're just going to go, and we're just going to let things happen, shall we? In Jesus' name. It was a hot and humid day in Central Virginia. A dad, a mom, a 5-year-old boy, and a 2-year-old girl are on a weekend trip to the local lake. Now, on arriving, the children eagerly dash to get closer to the water. A strong voice halts them from going further. "Far enough," said the dad. Neither the dad nor his small son knows that today will forever change their lives. The name of the lake is Bear Creek Lake State Park, but for today it will be Father and Son Lake. The family finds an isolated spot on the sand. It's noon and getting hotter. And the summer humidity of Virginia have Dad wanting to go for a quick swim before they go into the water as a family. The dad smiles at his wife and says, "I'm going in, I'll be right back." As the mom and 2 young children prepare their spot on the lake beach, the little boy decides to follow his dad. The mother instantly notices the young boy following the dad and calls him to come back. Dad hears the mother telling the young boy to come back. The dad pauses to see how his young son will handle the rejection of not being allowed to follow him. The little boy begins to plead his case for following his dad. After watching his little boy try to convince the mom to let him follow along, the dad returns to console his little boy. He explains to his son that he'll be right back, and they will go into the water together as they always do as a family. The small child is adamant. He wants to go with his dad into the water. The dad explains that he's going to swim out to the wooden float, and he explains that it's the deep water, and his little boy's feet cannot touch the bottom of the lake. The child tells his dad that he's ready for the deep water, and the dad smiles and says, okay. The dad smiles at his wife and says, I'm going to take him with me. They begin walking into the water, and after about 10 yards, the water begins to reach the little boy's chest, and he becomes slightly scared, but he's okay. He grips his daddy's hand a little bit tighter. The child stops again, and the dad asks, what's wrong? The child replies, I'm getting scared, Daddy. I'm afraid I'll drown. The dad smiles with an understanding and answers, I'll never let you down. I promise you, I'll never let you drown. Dad reminds his son that it was he that said he was ready for the deep water. The child is still very reluctant and stops again just as they had almost reached the part where the water drops off and the little boy cannot touch the bottom. And Dad asks his little boy again, would you like to go back? The child gives a quick nod yes, followed by a firm nod of no. He wants to go forward. The dad considers taking the child back to shore, but he knows this is a lesson that must be taught. He bends down and he tells his son it's going to be okay. And he decides now is the time to teach this lesson. The lesson learned on this hot summer day will last a lifetime. And later on, this little boy will become a man, and the moment will prepare him for the greatest moment of his life. The dad bends down again, looks into the eyes of his son, the one that he loves more than his own, and says, I will never let you drown. I will never let anything happen to you. I love you. Now we're only a couple steps away from the drop-off point. The water's going to be over your head. You're not going to be able to touch the ground, son. I'm going to kneel down, and I'm going to be almost the same height as you, and we'll take the steps together. The child nods yes. Dad says, when we reach the drop-off point, you grab hold of me, and I'll grab hold of you. And Dad whispers into the ear of his son again, I promise you, I won't let anything happen to you. They take one step, then another, then they hit the drop-off point, and fear and panic of this new experience engulf the child, and just as the little one starts to lose his breath, two big hands grab the little one's waist and raise him safely above the water. Now what had seemed terrifying and unknown now turns to tears of laughter and confidence. Dad has me, and Dad told me nothing would happen to me. Dad promised me. Dad kept his word. The child feels the strong arms of his daddy wrapped tightly around him, and he feels secure and loved, and most importantly, he has trust in his daddy. The dad is glorified, and he's trusted because his son chose to trust and believe in his love for him over the fear. It was hard for the child to go through the experience, but the dad knew what the outcome would be. The little boy learned a lesson of trust and faith, and later on in his life, he will apply this experience to knowing the greatest lesson of his life is when he will give his faith and trust to his real father. You see, the man at the lake was just his earthly daddy. He has one far greater. It's his almighty Father. And coming to your Father, folks, is putting trust in that which at first seems unknown, scary, and hard to us. Fully submitting to the Father can be hard and even at times painful. We are a stubborn creation because we seek the lust of our flesh instead of the love of our Father, and we allow ourselves to be consumed by fear. The child desired to go into the deep water where his feet could not touch. You must want to come to your Father, and in more ways than we can comprehend, you must be willing to go where your feet can't touch. And you must be willing to give your Father all your trust and know He will not let anything happen to you. And when you do this, you will find out that He will not fail you. The problem is most folks never want to go into the deep water with Him. They simply do not want to. Your entire life must revolve around your Father and what your Father gave you. Your Father gave you His Son, Jesus. When your whole life revolves around that, you will not drown. You will not fall. He will always be there to take care of you. The one true creator of everything is always in complete control. Never doubt nor let anyone ever convince you differently. It is ridiculous beyond what I can put into words, that so many people for centuries and millennia have been teaching that our Almighty Father lacks control, if he has any. If our Almighty Father chooses, he could close it all up now and say, it's done, I'm going to start over. If he chooses for you individually, you can live to be 100. And if he chooses, your life can end in the very next second. It's in his hands. Your Father can be gentle and loving beyond my ability to articulate, and he can turn your life inside out and upside down, and sometimes he does this. Knowing and loving your Almighty Father through his Son Jesus Christ should be what we desire above everything in this life. Having a relationship with your Heavenly Father through his Son Jesus Christ is the pinnacle of this life. There is nothing else. He will never fail you, nor will he ever let you drown. He is a merciful and loving Father. Trust your Almighty Father and come to him with a true heart. Let your feet not touch the bottom of the lake, 1 foot at a time, and telling your Father, my life is in your hands, but you must believe it. If you're merely going to utter the words, it has no meaning to the Father, because listen to me, none of us on our best day are going to be as the Father. It's not going to happen. He knows us all, inside and out. He knows the real us. The Almighty Father will put his arms around you, and there is no greater power on this earth times infinity. Come to your Father as a little child, because that is what you are. He does want us to be strong, but we're always going to be children to him. Your Father loves you. He is kind, merciful, and beyond what we understand, and he does not ask much of us. When you really stop and take the time to understand what he asks of us, we cannot call it burdensome. We are to obey his commandments, and they are not a burden in the slightest. We are to love him above all people and all things through his Christ, which is Jesus. Now, I don't like to share my testimony much. As much as I love my Father and Jesus, I am a very private person when it comes to my relationship with him. My struggles, my pains, my growth, and how far I have come. Now, I started making videos, I told you, 3 years ago. And I wanted to do something special today. I wanted it to be meaningful, and I prayed about it. It's easy, folks, to rant and to do nothing but talk about the enemy. It's easy to do nothing but talk about the bad. And that's what some folks do. However, I simply want to ask you, how does this glorify our Almighty Father? How does it exalt Jesus Christ? You see, I have a real issue with people who do nothing but rant and talk about all of the ills of the world. I recently received an email from a Christian identity movement person named Skip Baker and David Baker, and it made me sick. And I put my email in almost every video, so it's easy for people to get my email. And what this email was about was ranting and raving, and white people are great, white people this, white people, Jesus is coming for his own race. You see, these pathetic monsters have rewritten the Bible, and I loathe them as much as black Hebrew Israelites and as much as the enemy, because they are tares in the wheat, posing as the children of the Almighty Father. There is a war against us. There is a war against Jesus Christ. This is true. But I'm going to say it to you again. If you believe that every white person walking this earth is kin to Jacob Israel, the Father has blinded you, and blinded you badly. Badly. Really, really bad. And I want nothing to do with these people. So please quit coming and quit sending me your emails. I'll look at you as spiritually weak. I'll look at you as physically weak. I think you're chicken dung cowards. If it hit the fan tomorrow, I don't want you beside me fighting. I got me and Jesus, and I'll take on the world if I have to. I don't need help from cowards who think that their flesh is more important than Jesus Christ. Stay away from me. John 6:63 says, it is the Spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. It is true. The Almighty Father has made a covenant with a people called Jacob Israel. However, I don't understand what these people have not. What they lack is because the Father has blinded them. The Almighty Father gave the invitation to others and said, you can join. You can be grafted into the true vine. And he will love them as much as he loves us. You see, it's arrogant on a scale that I hate, man. I hate it. Because they take away the glory from the Almighty Father and Jesus, and they put it on their skin. When people who supposedly claim to be the children of Jesus, and all they can talk about, their whole doctrine is Jews, Masons, the Illuminati, NWO, blacks, immigration, etc. If that's all you can do, you're not glorifying the Father. You're not exalting Jesus Christ. You're glorifying yourself. You're exalting yourself. All these things are issues. But if that's the core of your doctrine, you have no doctrine. You have no doctrine. You're the same people who have never gone out into the deep water with the Almighty Father because it's not in you to do so. You stay on the beach and you frolic and you complain and moan and yell, but you never go into the deep water because you've not been called to do so. I'm well aware of the issues and the evil that are against the flock of Jesus, and I have made quite a few videos about it. However, if you will have noticed, if you look at my videos, how many videos do you see that talk about the enemy and how many videos talk about Jesus? The Bible. I'll say it again. Nothing, I repeat, nothing can happen to you or to any nation unless the Almighty Father approves it. The Almighty Father tries us and sometimes He punishes us. And what you see happening to this world and to white Western culture is because the Almighty Father wants it to happen. So if you want to moan and you want to complain and you want to say how evil and look how bad, it's the Father's will being done. If we love Jesus and if we are doing what we are supposed to be doing, the Father will not punish us. The Father is not unjust. The world is, but the Father's not. Why would the Father punish His children individually? If you're doing what's right in His eyes, do you think He's going to say, I'm going to punish you today? Come on, man. Your Father's righteous. Your Father's perfect. Your Father does not punish individuals, tribes, races, or nations unless they deserve it. So if we will do as we have been instructed to do, we should have no fear of anything on this earth, come what may. You can list every evil on God's earth. You can list every evil group, race, tongue, tribe, people, event, everything, and you should have no fear if you get up every day and do what the Father wants you to do through Jesus Christ. You can talk about serpents, tares in the wheat, devils, demons, you can talk about it all. But the most important thing to talk about in this life is our Almighty Father being loved and glorified and His only begotten Son, who is your King and your Redeemer, Jesus. Jesus should be exalted every second of your life, and His name is the name above all names, Jesus. His name alone has more power than what this delusional world can understand. The Father has moved me recently to do more videos about Him, about Jesus, about the Word, because I feel like we're getting into something. Once you know a little bit about the enemy, that's it. So you know it. But what's going to save you is not knowing about the enemy, it's knowing about the Father and Jesus and doing what's right. That's the truth of it. My life has changed in the past 3 years. It seems to keep changing. I seem to keep growing and learning. And it's not my doing, because I don't have it in me to do those things. Only the Father can give you or me that, and we have to want it. We have to want it. My life has been a constant change. The videos that I've done have changed. The way that I look at the world, the things that I care about have changed. My ego has left. Wanting attention for myself and being and bragging about how much I know is gone. It means nothing. What I want now is to glorify my Father and to glorify Jesus and to help my brothers and sisters as much as I can with what the Father gives me to do it with. The last 3 videos that I did were the most important videos that I have ever done. They did not receive millions of views. They did not even receive 1,000 views. Yet I tell you folks, Almighty Father moved me to make those videos. He did it. Because they were that important. And we talked about the authority of Jesus Christ. We talked about the glory of our Almighty Father, what it really means, the word glory. People toss it about, and we live in the age of the bragger. And then the last one I did was, what does it take to be loved by Jesus and to be loved of Jesus? And if you've not watched them, I humbly suggest that maybe you should. My Father is in complete control of who sees them and who will not see the work that I do for Him. The censorship aside, the only reason I have a channel is because the Father has seen to it that I will have a channel. I should have been gone a long time ago. If we are going to love our Father and love Jesus, and if we're going to do right by them, then we must do a couple of things or it can never happen. Can we really love our Almighty Father? Can we really please Him? Well, if we do not trust him completely, how can we please him if we have no faith in him? How can you please your Father if you don't have that real faith? Hebrews 11:6. But without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. You cannot please your Father if you don't really trust him, and if you don't really have real faith in him. John 20:27. This is Thomas. And this is where we get the expression to be a doubting Thomas. Thomas, after Jesus was resurrected, Thomas said, I don't believe it unless I see him, touch him, and unless I can put my hand in his... He didn't believe. Listen to the words that Jesus Christ says to him. Then saith he to Thomas, reach hither thy finger, and behold my hands, and reach hither thy hand, and thrust it into my side, and be not faithless, but believing. Because if Thomas did not believe that it was Jesus, he would not have been able to tell that it was Jesus. You see, this is the veil that the Father has put on this world. He will not let you see unless you believe, unless you have real faith. And this is why we look at a world that is blind, because the veil has been put over them, because they do not believe, they do not have real faith. And we're going to try to learn in this video where that real faith comes from. Again, we go to Matthew 14:31, and we talk about when Peter called out to Jesus, and he's on the water, and he said Jesus was walking on the water. And Peter was on the boat, and Peter wanted to come to him. And he told him, Master, can I come to you? And Jesus told him, come on. And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and called him, and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore did thou doubt? Because as Peter was coming to Jesus, a little bit of doubt crept into his mind, and he started to sink. He started to drown, just like the little boy. It takes complete faith, brethren. Luke 17:5 and 17:6. And the apostles, the men who were with Jesus Christ, said unto the Lord, increase our faith. Here's the response that Jesus Christ gives them. And the Lord said, if you had faith as a grain of mustard seed, you might say unto this sycamore tree, be thou plucked up by the root, and be thou planted in the sea, and it should obey you. We cannot please him if we do not have real faith and trust. Matthew 5:48 says, be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. Proverbs 3:6 says, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Now let's read those verses again, shall we? Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. You can get up every day of your life and strive to be perfect. I know the flesh is awful. The flesh is corrupt. Sometimes we have thoughts that we shouldn't have. You have to fight them. You have to block them out. You have to have Jesus Christ rebuke them and go on. But you can strive to be perfect every single day. Now, if you do that every single day, do you really think the Father is going to put you through punishment? Think about it. And then think about the rest of the world who does just the opposite. Let's read Proverbs 3:6 again. I want you to think about this now. What's really being said? In all thy ways, in all ways, in every way, acknowledge him, your Father, and he shall direct thy path. In every way of your life, no matter what you do. If you go to the bathroom, listen to me. I had a conversation with a friend about a year ago named Pierre, one of my favorite people. And as you start to get older, you start to give Father praise for everything, because you should. I'm grateful to be able to go to the bathroom. It's easy. I'm able to be able to walk. I'm able to be able to see. I'm able to be able to eat, to make this video. What I'm trying to tell you, brethren, is that everything that you do, you should acknowledge him. Everything that you do in life should be with him. If you go to the store, you're going with Jesus. If you come back home and take a nap, you and Jesus are going to take a nap together. Everything that you do is with your Father and Jesus Christ. Everything. And let's look at the promise here. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Deuteronomy 7:9, and we're going to see that the Father is faithful. See, your Father will never fail you. If you trust in man, you're going to be failed. If you trust in the Father and Jesus, you will never be failed. Know therefore that the Lord thy God, he is God, the faithful God, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him, again, and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations. But let's see what he says in Deuteronomy 32:20. These are the words of the Almighty Father. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be, for they are a very froward generation, children in whom is no faith. No faith. And sometimes we get scolded because in our being punished, we change and do what's right. You see, sometimes the Father, because he loves us, he has to change us. And just as any good parent disciplines their child to help them, so does the Almighty Father, so does Jesus. So let us read, shall we? Revelation 3:19 through 21. As many as I love, notice that, he says, as many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous, therefore, and repent. And repent does not mean to pray. Repent means to change. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcometh will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame and am set down with my Father in his throne. Jesus tells us, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. And if you say you love me and don't keep my commandments, Jesus says you are a liar. If you say you love him, but you don't do what he tells you, he calls you a liar. He says you really don't love me. It's more lip service. 1 John 2:4. He that saith I know him and keepeth not his commandments is a liar, and the truth is not in him. John 14:23 through 24. Jesus answered and said unto him, if a man love me, he will keep my words, and my Father will love him, and we will come unto him and make our abode with him. It means they will dwell in you. He that loveth me not, keepeth not my sayings, and the word which ye hear is not mine, but the Father's which sent me. Think about that. That's what the last video was about, how to love Jesus. You have to do what Jesus tells you. Psalm 112, verse 1. Praise ye the Lord. Blessed is the man that feareth the Lord, that delighteth greatly in his commandments. And your first and greatest commandment is to love and honor your Father with everything that you have inside of you. Jesus Christ told us this. That's the first commandment. The second great commandment is to love your neighbor, to try to love folks and be respectful as you can, when you can. Every day of your life, you should honor your Father and Jesus by whatever means he has given you to do so. We love our Father through loving his Son who gave his life for us. We love our Father through our behavior, the way that we act, because we follow his commandments, we follow his teachings. We have to make our Father and Jesus Christ the most important part of our lives. Nothing or no one else is going to save you, brethren. Nothing. Jesus said in the Gospel of John, chapter 14 and verse 6, and it's read all the time, but folks never really stop and think about what he's saying because it's contrary to the world. Jesus saith unto him, I am the way. It means he is the way. He is the way. You have to follow him. He is the way. He knows the way. You follow him. You can't get there any other way. Then he says, I am the way. I am the truth. He is the truth, personified, and the life. He is the life. And no man, nobody, can come to the Father but by me. Nobody can get to the Almighty Father but through Jesus. That's it. There is no other way. Matthew chapter 28 says, and Jesus came and spake unto them, saying, all power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. Every bit of power is given to Jesus. Matthew 10:32 through 33. Whosoever therefore shall confess me before men, him will I also confess before my Father which is in heaven. But whosoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before my Father which is in heaven. Look at the world now. Think about how many people have denied Jesus Christ. And even most of the people who go to the churches who claim to love Jesus, they have denied him for something else, for the enemy. John 5:23, that all men should honor the Son, even as they honor the Father. He that honoreth not the Son honoreth not the Father which hath sent him. You see, when you dishonor Jesus, you're dishonoring the Father. If you dishonor the Father, you're done. That's it. If you deny Jesus the Christ is the only way, you will pay. And this is a certainty in your existence. And most folks can't comprehend it, but they will. Hear me well, people. You will not make it to the Father through Catholicism, Judaism, The Pope, the Dalai Lama, Obama, Muhammad, Buddha, Kali, Krishna, Shiva, all these devils and demons, Indian gurus, Oprah Winfrey, Joel Osteen, the local pastor, athletes, actors, rabbis, pastors, Martin Luther King, New Age teachers, UFOs, aliens, or any other being from any race or religion, you will not make it except through Jesus. If it ain't Jesus, take it back and send it back, because it just don't matter. Let me say it again to you. If it ain't Jesus, it don't matter. Take it on back. It don't mean nothing. Take it back. Being tried and fighting physically and spiritually, and sometimes you have to get mad, you have to get strong. We all do. I want to read something to you because I know many of you go through hard times, and I've gone through them right there with you. But you grow and you overcome them, and it can be done. But sometimes you got to be, for the first thing you have to have, brethren, is faith. You got to have faith. Faith, you got to believe. And you got to want to do what's right. And sometimes you got to get mad. You got to want to fight back. Spiritually and physically. I guess more spiritually than physically, quite frankly. Luke chapter 22:31, and the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for thee, that all thy faith fail not. And when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. Well, when was Peter converted? The devil wanted to come and sift Peter as wheat. He wanted to try him, wanted to test him. And Jesus said, I'll pray for your faith that it fail not. But when you are converted, strengthen your brothers and sisters. And he said unto him, Peter did, I am ready to go with thee both into prison and to death. And he said, I tell thee, Peter, the cock shall not crow this day before that thou shalt thrice, 3 times deny that thou knowest me. You see, folks, many folks want to talk it, but walking it's a different story. Now, Peter was to go on to walk it. And to be one of the most loved. But he had to go through his time of learning and being tried. We all do. 35, and he said unto them, when I sent you without person, scrip, and shoes, lacked ye anything? These are the words of Jesus. And they said, nothing. 36, then saith he unto them, but now he that hath a purse, let him take it, and likewise his scrip. And he that hath no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. Because they were going to need a sword. Because Jesus knew the evil that was coming against them. Mass murderers. That's what they were then. That's what they are now. 37, for I say unto you that it is written, must yet be accomplished in me. And he was reckoned among the transgressors, for the things concerning me have an end. And they said, Lord, Lord, behold, here are 2 swords. And he said unto them, it is enough. Now notice he didn't tell them we don't need any swords. You see, brethren, sometimes you do need a physical sword. But mostly what you need is your spiritual sword. Let's go forward. James 4:6-8. Because the evil of this world will test you. But you can avoid that if you will stay close to the Father and close to Jesus. And you will be strong in your faith, strong in prayer, and do what the Father has told us to do. James 4:6-8, but he giveth more grace, wherefore he saith, God resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble. Submit yourselves therefore to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw near to God, and he will draw nigh to you, near to you. Cleanse your hands, ye sinners, and purify your hearts, ye double-minded. Ephesians 6:12-20 tells us that we are in a spiritual war. A spiritual war. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. So when the evil of this world shoots their fiery darts at you, how do you quench them? Through faith, believing. And sometimes you got to get mad. Because what's in us is greater than what's in them. What's in us is Jesus. I just got through telling you that the Father and Jesus said, we will make our abode with you. We will dwell in you. Well, if the Father and Jesus are dwelling in you, the evil of this world has no chance. None. They have no chance. That's what it's about. Strength. It takes a lot of strength, brethren, doesn't it? What I would like to do here now is just read some verses to you, and we're going to go ahead and close. Strength. Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthen me. Isaiah 40:31 says, but they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Psalm 31:24 says, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart, all ye that hope in the Lord. Deuteronomy 31:6 says, be strong and of a good courage, fear not, nor be afraid of them. For the Lord thy God, he it is that doth go with thee. He will not fail thee nor forsake thee. Your Father will never ever fail you. So if you had to stand in front of the most evil, you shouldn't be but so worried nor so afraid. You should be confident. It looks like they're going to take a whipping today because my Father's with me. Because your Father made a promise. Your Father will always keep his promises. But you got to believe in them, or they mean nothing to you. They have no effect on you if you don't believe it. Isaiah 41:10, fear thou not, I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee, yes. I will help thee, yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness, because your Father is righteous and perfect. Where would we be without him? Deuteronomy 20, verse 4, for the Lord your God is he that goeth with you to fight for you against your enemies to save you. And we will be tempted. But listen what the Father says about temptation. 1 Corinthians 10:13, there hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. Because it's all common that sometimes we get tempted. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that you may be able to bear it. The Father will get you out of the temptation if you will ask him and if you really believe it. Folks, we have to wake up every day and give it all to the Father. All of it. All of it. Do you understand? All of it. Time is short, brethren. Time is very, very short. James 4:14, whereas you know not what shall be on the morrow. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know what's going to happen in the very next minute. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appeareth for a little time and then vanisheth away. 1 Timothy 6:7, for we brought nothing into the world, it is certain that we carry nothing out. We're not here for that. And so many people in this world, all they care about is material things. They don't understand the spiritual. We're here to love and serve our Father through Jesus. That's it. Trust. Let's talk about trust. Let's look at a few verses about trust. Psalm 34:22, the Lord redeemeth the soul of his servants, and none of them that trust in him shall be desolate. Here's another promise now. Let's read it again. The Lord redeemeth the soul of his servants, and none of them that trust in him shall be desolate. 37:5, commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. He shall bring it to pass if you trust in him. Psalm 56:11, in God I have put my trust. I will not be afraid what man can do unto me. 1 Timothy 4:10, for therefore we both labor and suffer reproach because we trust in the living God, who is the Savior of all men, especially of those that believe. Fearing the Almighty Father. Fear of the Father. And many folks will tell you, not only do they not believe in him, that they don't fear him, how incredibly ignorant and stupid they are. Psalm 34:9, O fear the Lord, ye his saints, for there is no want to them that fear him. There's another promise. The Father keeps his promises. The world doesn't, but the Father will. Praise the Father. Psalm 145:19, he will fulfill the desire of them that fear him. He also will hear their cry and will save them. Job 28:28, and unto man he said, behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding. Fear of the Lord, he said, is wisdom. Psalm 19:19, the fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. Psalm 25:14, the secret of the Lord is with them that fear him, and he will show them his covenant. The secret of the Lord is with them that fear him, and he will show them his covenant. Your Almighty Father, and I've been saying this since I've been on YouTube, I don't guess I've done a whole lot right in the past 3 years. I've learned a lot, and I've grown. But one thing that I guess I've done right pretty steady in the entire 3 years is that I've always told you, brothers and sisters, that your Father is in total control. 100% control. Proverbs 19:21, there are many devices in a man's heart. Nevertheless, the counsel of the Lord, that shall stand. Psalms 115:3, but our God is in the heavens. He hath done whatsoever he hath pleased. Who's going to stop him? Isaiah 14:24, the Lord of hosts hath sworn, saying, Surely, as I have thought, so shall it come to pass, and as I have purposed, so shall it stand. What your father says is going to come to pass, it's going to happen. Jeremiah 32:26 through 27. Then came the word of the Lord unto Jeremiah, saying, Behold, I am the Lord, the God of all flesh. Is there anything too hard for me? Because your father can do anything, anything. Isaiah 45:5 through 7. I am the Lord, and there is none else. There is no God beside me. I girded thee, though thou hast not known me, that they may know from the rising of the sun and from the west that there is none beside me. I am the Lord, and there is none else. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. It's sad that people of this world, even some folks who say they believe, they want to give the evil more power than it actually has. Man, nobody, good, bad, black, white, seen, unseen, nobody does anything unless the Father says that it can. Isaiah 55:8 through 11. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. For as the rain cometh down and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, and maketh it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. Everything that your Father says, it will happen. Nothing, brethren, can make it not happen. Job 12:10. In whose hand is the soul of every living thing, and the breath of all mankind? Jeremiah 10:10. But the Lord is the true God, he is the living God, and everlasting King. At his wrath the earth shall tremble, and the nations shall not be able to abide his indignation. Isaiah 46:9. Remember the former things of old, for I am God, and there is none else. I am God, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, My counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. Again, who's going to stop them? Nobody. You put your hand in his and the hand in Jesus, and you go forward. And you go forward with confidence. The conclusion. Revelation 3:21 again. To him that overcometh, because we are overcomers, him will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame, and am set down with my Father in his throne. Luke 12:32. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom, because he loves you. Matthew 28:18 again. You love him, you believe in him, he's yours, and you love him and he loves you. And what does he tell you? And Jesus came and spake unto them, saying, All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. Let me repeat it to you again. Jesus came and spake unto them, saying, All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. Jesus has it all. Now, you love Jesus, you do right by Jesus, you seek Jesus, you pray to Jesus, you pray to the Father, you love him, you do right by him, you follow their commandments. Brethren, that's what this life is about. That's what it is about. And then when you go to the Father in prayer, no, my Father's always going to hear me, because I'll always do what's right by him. Father's always there with me, 24/7. It doesn't matter. He's always there with me. Jesus goes everywhere I go. He's there with me. And it's as real as the air that you are breathing. May the Father bless each and every one of you. And the name above all names, the most precious, the most powerful, the name that can open the mouth of lions, the name that can shake the earth, the name that can do anything, it's Jesus.